Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for joining us here today. I am Dr. Cindy Banyai, and I'm here with my co-host,
Sean Hartman. Good to be here. Good to be here.
That's right. And this is a Democrat and a Republican walk into a bar, or hashtag
DVR in a bar.
DVR in a bar. That's right. And we are coming to you live from Ollie's in Cape Coral.
Mhm.
So cool. Thanks, Ollie's, for having us here.
Absolutely wonderful place. I'm having my normal Coca-Cola and
I'm having a beer. It's pickles and something else. It's a dead parrot. It's pretty good.
Very simple folk. Very simple folk.
Very good. But yeah, this is a great place to come hang out. They got live music. I just saw that they have a hot sauce karaoke contest coming up.
What?
Which sounds like so much fun.
Now, is it like you eat? Now, is it you're competing for hot sauce, or is it like you eat something that's hot and then perform karaoke?
That's it. So I've never seen it before. That's what the advertisement said. But like, you get a shot of like hot sauce, and then you have to sing
a shot of hot sauce. Not like a chicken. You don't do it like chicken when you don't eat it with.
I don't know, but it sounds like fun. It's a great place to come. They got records too. So shout out to Ollie's for being our host.
Thank you, Ollie's. Thank you, Ollie's.
But
yeah,
let's jump into it. So this, of course, this podcast is a Democrat and a Republican. So I am a former congressional candidate, and Sean is
I'm a Republican activist. I'm a former city council candidate down here. I did have to drop out because of redistricting, but I was running for city council. That's about as high as I've ever gone. But I am a Republican. I've been a Republican for about 10 years, save for a few times where I became an independent out of frustration. But in general, I'm a Republican, more of a conservative libertarian leaning.
You can be part of this audience too. So this is not just Sean and Cindy having a beer together. This is like the community. Come and have a beer with us.
We want to hear from you.
Have a beer. Listen
right now,
to the
all we have is this young girl she's great and everything, but she doesn't contribute much to the political conversation.
Yeah, good. I was gonna say, join the conversation, and you can stay. So you can come and stay for the duration of it. We'll do special questions and things like that.
Yep.
We really want to make this a community dialogue.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do this part live.
Yeah.
And then we do have an edited version of the podcast that we do this every other week.
So it'll be definitely interesting if we can get that going. So definitely please come down 4:30 every other Sunday.
Yep.
Or come here at 4. We'll be out here. I'll sign autographs if you want me to. I'm perfectly all right with doing that.
But yeah, have a great. Okay, so
yes.
Lots of stuff going on politically. Let's talk about the next thing that you wanted to talk about, which was
2024. You know that, Evie? We could have the first female president, a Republican by the name of Nikki Haley. Be happy.
Yeah.
And she takes her.
I'm going to take a drink on that one.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I don't hate Nikki Haley. I don't know.
Please, for the love of God, say you prefer to Trump.
Yeah, I do. And this is what's actually the reason that I can appreciate her is the reason why a lot of really far right folks aren't. It's because she was ambassador to the United Nations.
Yeah,
and I think that's a really important reason for,
yes.
I think that we need to be global leaders.
Yeah.
And I think the United Nations is really important, and she served that role. And I think she did a pretty decent job. Not all the decisions she made were the ones that I would appreciate. I think that's an important leadership thing for the United States.
No, I agree. That's definitely one of the things we bonded on very early on is our love of foreign policy. I was an international studies major at UCF, so I love that foreign policy stuff. But yeah, my party's become you've been very anti-globalist. And I've said, actually at a party meeting once, or they were having a discussion about the World Health Organization and the United Nations and all that type of stuff. And someone was like, who here supports the UN? I was like sarcastically, who would support it? And I was like, me. Because what the UN is supposed to be is an organization where we as individual sovereign nations come together and find ways that we can cooperate internationally. The UN is, and I remember going when my first trip to New York when I was in elementary school, I was shocked at how weak the UN is. And now I've grown up and I've become a conservative and I understand the value of national sovereignty.
Yes.
And that's why it's designed in the weak way it is.
100%.
But I'm a big supporter of the UN, and the presidency constitutionally is a foreign policy role primarily.
100%.
It's supposed to be foreign policy and national policy. Yep. Most domestic stuff is supposed to be handled by the states.
Congress.
So she has very strong diplomatic credentials. She has executive credentials with her governorship as governor of South Carolina. I think she has the ability to broaden our tent and get more young people, more minority voters into the Republican Party, which obviously I believe is important and a lot of Republicans believe is important. I think it's going to be interesting in how many people come into this race, because I am hearing now that Ron is going to run, which I said in the previous episode, there's no way he's going to run. I said, there's no way he's going to run. There's no way.
The Democrats just made that up.
Democrats just made it up. I was so wrong. I do now have it on good authority that he was thinking about. So I may have been right when I said it, because
maybe he was thinking about not running.
He was not going to run, but he decided to run at the so that's what I've been told. So I may have been right when I said it. So I'll keep
all right. So before we jump into like analysis on Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, I want to loop back to the UN thing just one moment.
Okay. Yes, please.
Because so first of all, yes, we did bond on that. So I have an undergraduate degree in international relations. I have a master's degree in international relations. Then I got my doctorate degree in the international field. I got it in Japan. I was studying Asia Pacific studies, but I was studying governance structures around the world.
She has this amazing thesis paper that I took pictures of to read. It just on community policy and how to address economic issues in the Asia Pacific. Very interesting.
Community-driven economics, because I'm actually fundamentally like a very wonky person. I believe in decentralization, which, by the way, that's like states' rights, local rights. Yeah. Okay, that's what it's all about. But it's about, for me, I want to see it like it's like the nesting dolls. It's like we got to have everything fit together, right?
Yeah.
So that's the challenge, I think, to people who are policymakers.
Yeah.
But so back to the United Nations. I was also, by the way, a representative to the United Nations on behalf of a non-governmental organization called the International Association for Community Development.
Oh, yes.
Which is an international organization that advocates for community people to have a say in their governance. So it's really like, how do we do participatory governments? How do we do decentralization? How do we involve people meaningfully in their own governance?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I had the privilege for 2 years to go to the United Nations and advocate on behalf of this cause, participate in many high-level forums. And yes, what Sean says is true, is it doesn't function like a government.
Yeah.
I think. Okay?
It's not a one world government.
It's not a one world government. No, it is literally just, here's my government, and like they can come together and say, basically all that they can do is make a decree. It's, we believe X, we believe Y. And then there's this thing called the UN Secretariat, the Secretariat.
Yeah, okay.
That's the administrative body. So they oversee the funding that basically everybody voluntarily puts together from the United Nations to run things like the World Health Organization, the International Labor Organization, the UNDP, the Development Program, the Poverty Alleviation Program,
UNICEF, stuff like that.
UNICEF, right, for kids. UNHCR, the human rights are
human refugees.
That's refugees, right? And these are all things, by the way, and this is the other part that I want every Republican. So please, Republicans, if you listen, we made this shit up. We made it. It was
that's the other part of it too. You're right.
Redwoods is New Jersey. It's all based on the Western ideology.
It's
based on market economy. It's to how we can make the rest of the world more democratic and more market-based. That's the whole point of the United Nations. And the biggest criticism in international relations has been that it's too U.S. driven, because the United States puts a lot of money to it. There's a lot of workers. There's a lot of people. It's based in New York, right? So the criticism, so everybody else in the world says, oh, it's too U.S. focused. And then us in the U.S., we want to flush it down the toilet. It's literally how we influence the rest of the world too. To make them more like us. And it's just, for me, I'm like, oh man, this is the wrong thing, because it is a place to demonstrate U.S. leadership.
Yeah.
It is the beacon on the hill from Ronald Reagan, right? How do we make the United States the one that everybody looks to? It's by being the people who are promoting democracy through international diplomatic democratic channels, which is what the United Nations is. And they have no power, really.
Yeah, they really don't. But I agree with you. I think that with the UN is a part of United States tradition. We created it through Eleanor Roosevelt, I think, was a major with that and was one of the main leaders on our side with that. It came out of World War II. It came out of our alliances from there. And so it has a purpose.
The winners.
Yes, the winners. We did it.
That's why Germany doesn't have a UN Security
Council. We do.
Because it's Russia, China, United States, France, and Britain. It's the winners. It's the allied powers.
And I would agree with a lot of current Republican sentiment that we really need to focus on the issues in our own country before we worry about everything. And and that's where I think a lot of people get hesitant. And even if when you listen to Nikki Haley, she does have that strong foreign policy stance that smells of neoconservatism, like old-fashioned Bush neoconservatism.
Francis Fukuyama, like my favorite neocon, by the way.
History
have a
is
favorite
over.
video.
End of history. No more history. Just stop recording everything, guys.
Like,
It's
no
the
more
stupidest.
nation
That is,
building.
that is
Okay.
it was the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Is that what do you mean? There's no more. We're still recording history. Can you say? That is, anyway.
So Nikki Haley has some maybe different, broader appeal,
I
but
do.
might face some kind of headwinds from her own party.
I think she's gonna face a lot. Anyone who runs against Trump, except for Ron DeSantis, is gonna face issues. Ron DeSantis is a special character, though, and where I actually he's a special character because I think what's going to happen is that him and Trump are going to compete for the votes. And that's where I think someone like Nikki Haley could end up rising to the top because they're going to divide each other. Because look at how the primary schedule is set up. You'll have Iowa first, which I think, because you also have, just so everyone is aware, the list of people who are running. You have obviously Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis is set to announce after the legislative session. That's your A team. Your B team is going to be Mike Pompeo, who's set to announce in the spring. Asa Hutchinson, who is the governor of Arkansas. Look, I don't know. He was the drug enforcement administrator under Bush. He's old news, but he's going to be announcing for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's like my last hurrah. Let's just do it. What do I have to lose? I'm done. Sure.
Because it becomes a numbers thing.
It does.
At that
and
point.
So I do think you're going to have Republicans like Larry Hogan, Liz Cheney.
Mike Pence.
I think Mike Pence may run, but I don't know if he'll run. I feel like with Nikki running, Mike Pence won't run, is what I'm thinking, because I don't know if Mike Pence wants it. Mike Pence, I think, is humble. I don't think he's really wanting to put him or his family through all the stuff he went through already.
He doesn't want them to bring out the guillotine again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, we don't need gallows in the middle of every presidential debate. Okay,
they're right. There were gallows, not guillotine, but whatever.
You were, and I am, and I'll be honest, and I am. If this is going to get violent, and I think that any violence will hurt Trump no matter what. So I'm hoping that Trump supporters heed my warning and don't do anything stupid. Whether or not they will listen to me is besides the point. But I think that you have Mike Pompeo, Asa Hutchinson. Maybe one of the never Trump Republicans goes in, but you just had the RNC make Republicans pledge to support whoever's the nominee, which both hits Trump because it means that will Trump actually do that? That's to be seen. And then it hits anyone who wouldn't endorse Trump. So that would be, I would be interested to see if we have any of the never Trump Republicans run. I don't think they will, though, because I also think that they realize that if it's a crowded field, then it's going to be, it helps Trump. You're going to have the same situation as the 2016 primary. That's why I think Mike Pence may not run either, is because he may think that he may endorse Nikki Haley, and Nikki Haley's that candidate she's conservative enough that she can win general votes, and she has enough connections to Trump where she's not a never Trumper or an anti-Trumper. She's not even attacking Trump. I just saw her.
I heard Trump gave her the green light to run.
See, I have a slight conspiracy theory. They planned this because I did notice that he's less critical of her than he is of Ron DeSantis. And I have a bit of a conspiracy where she's running as to steal votes, and then they're going to run on a ticket together.
I don't know if that's a conspiracy. I think that's just politics. Like, that's what people do.
Oh, no.
They will. They'll run. They'll not run. They'll put different people in.
Yeah.
Because, there is like...
they're auditioning for different posts, yeah.
And, the common thought is that the more people that run, it's going to favor Trump, not only because he has a bigger center of gravity, essentially, but that, like we see when there's a huge primary, you need less votes ultimately to win.
Yeah.
So Trump having that consolidated base is not really going to be able to, no one else is going to be able to compete, especially if everybody's taking a piece of the pie.
The only one who'd be willing to compete, be able to compete with Trump's base is Ron DeSantis. And so that's what's going to happen is DeSantis getting in pulls away at his base. So it'll be very interesting. So that's where I'm seeing, and that's assuming that there's no dirt on DeSantis. I've been hearing through the grapevine that there's some stuff like Trump posted a photo. We've all heard some things secretly. If we're all of us politically connected in Florida have heard rumors, but nothing that can be definitively proven, though Trump did tweet truth out, I guess. Truth out? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
He truthed out a photo of Ron DeSantis when he was a high school teacher drinking with his kids.
I put that out too.
You put that out too. Whether or not that's real or not, I don't know. But that, again, and
everybody's seen that.
There are allegations
back. There's more.
There's more. So
like his sister's missing and...
Ooh, I didn't even hear anything
There's all
about
sorts of
this.
stuff happening in Tampa.
Yeah.
He
So,
may not only like women. Yes.
oh
Anyway,
no,
we'll see
that I
what comes
didn't hear.
out.
That I didn't hear.
We'll see
But
what
it will
comes
be
out.
again. So that's where I'm also interested in, where I think that he may still not do it in the last minute if Trump or Roger Stone probably comes over as, look, Ron, because Roger Stone, I will say, I know I've met Roger Stone. I've spoken with Roger Stone multiple times. He hates Ron DeSantis. And so
He does.
it would not surprise me if he has the dirt and he goes over to Ron. He says, Ron, if you run, I'm leaking all of this. You're done. You won't have, you hold off, wait. And the wise thing for him would be to wait till 2028 or 2032.
Fascinating.
That's my thinking of it.
So the Democrats are just sitting back going, have fun, y'all.
Oh yeah, you guys see, this is the benefit of you guys
We got
having
Joe
your
Biden.
yeah.
Everybody's,
Yeah, and even though I hear like all these stories, oh, Democrats don't want him to run because of his age. I don't think that's as widespread. I think that there's not enthusiasm for Joe. It's more
we'll vote for him over Trump.
Yeah, exactly. And
well, and NPR did a really cool study on this
Mm-hmm.
recently. And it's just like you said, it's like there's people that are like, maybe I'd like somebody else.
yeah.
But if it comes down to it, Democrats are voting for him 100%.
But that's where I think Nikki Haley could be a strong candidate, because I think she can pull some of those Democrats who are not enthusiastic about Trump, but who may be more open to a Republican that can speak to them. And so I'd be very interested to see if that pulls off. My thinking is this, though. So, because what we also have to remember with these primaries is it's like a race. It's a step-by-step race. So you'll have Iowa, where I think Pompeo will probably get good numbers, and Trump, and I really don't know how Iowa's going to play out, honestly. And quite frankly, Iowa tends to pick someone who ends up losing. So I try not to pay too much attention about Iowa, if I'm being honest. But with New Hampshire, I think New Hampshire is going to be a good case study, because one, if the Democrats remove the primary schedule. Okay.
South Carolina is going to be the first one.
So already you're going to have two different primaries for Democrats and Republicans in New Hampshire. Those are open primaries. So you'll have Democrats and independents who will be able to vote. So you'll have two things happen. One, you'll have the Democrats who want a good chance for Biden vote for Trump. So they're going to boost his numbers. But I think you're also going to have a lot of moderate Democrats and independents vote for Nikki Haley. I think that'll give her a strong showing there. And of course, she's going to have a very strong showing in South Carolina, because that's her home state. By the time you get to Florida, Nevada, and Super Tuesday, she'll have enough delegates to be sitting comfortably with. Then you'll have Trump and DeSantis competing each other and basically fighting over the other delegates, and she'll have the leftovers and winning northeastern states, western states. And I think that's where she ends up coming in with a victory at the end, or we have a hung convention because it's too divided that way. That's also a possibility too. And then it becomes how do the delegates vote and who has the best delegate game, at which point I think both DeSantis and Nikki could fare very well there, depending on their strategies. So that's what I'm thinking. That's where I think the direction is going to go. But as I noted before, I said that Ron DeSantis wasn't going to run, and apparently he is. And I have been wrong so many times before. So don't take my predictions.
Listen, that's the best that we can do.
Yeah.
When you're in the game, you see the people, you look at the polls, you look at, what's
And
on the
based
ground,
on what you know,
and there's no perfect answer. Just like there's no perfect politician, just there's no perfect voter.
No.
We're all people, and people like Sean and I who love this.
Yeah.
We can immense in it. I've heard a lot of the stuff too. So I love the politics of it. I love watching what's going to happen. I love actually the policy side of it too.
Yeah, both of us are very policy oriented.
Yeah. So we are coming to the end of our time here. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For joining us here today.
Come join us next time.
Yeah,
so
join us.
You can tell me how wrong I am to my face, or how wrong Cindy is to my face. If come join. Seriously.
Have a chat. Obviously, look, Republicans and Democrats can sit and have a conversation. We can think and we can listen together. It's totally possible. So let's do more of that. Come and join us. Thanks to Ollie's for hosting us. Come and see us every other Sunday starting this weekend and every other one. You'll see it on our Facebook page on Big Mouth Media. You can also follow us on bigmouthmediafl.com. That is where you will be able to get your subscription to #DVR in a bar and help us keep the lights on, literally, for this this show and support independent media and support independent thought. I know
Yep.
how much, especially my Republican friends, hate that mainstream media.
We hate it.
Help support people trying to do something different. We would love to have your support
Absolutely.
for that. Check us out on the price and plans tab there. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also our YouTube channel. So this week, we are also streaming live on YouTube. You'll see our edited version come out on Wednesday, and we hope you'll join the conversation. So thanks so much for joining us here.
Thank you so much. And also check out, again, the Cape Coral Watchdog if you want to keep following up on what's going on with the city manager and everything that's going on there. Obviously, a very big issue here locally. I'm going to be on top of that, and we're going to figure out what the truth actually is there. So very excited. We'll see you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, see you next time. Bye-bye.